Hi, this is Cousin Russ. Uh, this is Cousin Russ. Sorry, I'm having a little technical issue getting started here. But anyhow, what I'm want to share you today is talk about what if, what if I have a file that was given to me and I from someone and I need to return it. uh, at some point in time after I've done some cleanup and done some research, but I want to return the file to the person who gave it to me. And I want to be able to leave footprints, paper trail of what I did and why, and give them an idea of how I do things in the file. Uh, and I started this project a couple weeks ago, and I like it so much that I'm going to incorporate it into my own research file when I get back to doing that. Anyhow, let me show you some tips and tricks, I guess, about how I'm going to manage the file that ultimately is not my file, but I will return it to someone else in the near future. So here is the Family Tree Maker in the planned workspace, because this is where most of that sharing of information is going to happen, in the planned workspace. Right now there's nothing there, but I want to start with showing my file notes. These are notes that I have in the file. So that gives me a reminder of how I do things, and so it will help the person who gets the file back from me have some understanding of what I have done. At the top, I've decided I would sort of put them in an order that makes sense, at least it does to me, for the numbering scheme. No necessarily any priority in how they are, but they're organized by workspace. And that's these buttons across the top, like the zero. Anything with a zero in the front is regard to the planned workspace. Anything with a one in front of it has to do with the people workspace, and to the places workspace, etc. Anything in the plan workspace, I have to figure out a way to categorize or put a priority on the work that's in the plan workspace task list. For an example, high priority items, and you see the category in the right hand side where it says file notes. High priority are notes about the file itself, not about people in the file, but the file itself. So anything in the high priority at the category, or the red dots on the left, that means that it's notes about or a task about the file itself. Medium category, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. Medium category are for task for a person. So it's a person-specific task. And the low priority are those tasks that I have completed. So I've already done the work, and I don't want to see it. I want to work on the high priority and the medium priority most of the time, but I don't want to get rid of what I have already completed. Let me sort of talk about the people workspace, and just a couple of items here. This item 12 is unknown names. That's an indication of how I handle any unknown names. You've heard me talk about this before, 5 underscores. Now, this just to reiterate why I use 5 underscores, there's a couple items. One, if it's printed, that means that it's a fill in the blank thing. If I were to share a file or a report, and I had 5 underscores and somebody else knows what that name is, they'll fill it in. Now I do this both for family names and given names. And that'll really show up in the next item is about females. If I find a record that's for a female, but the record is reflecting a married name, in my database, I will add the husband's surname with 5 underscores as the given name. I will try to prove or disprove that assumption on my part, and that's what it is. I'm assuming that if the record has a name that I do not believe is her birth surname, I will add a husband's surname with 5 underscores for the given name. And I'll show you an example of that in a minute. But I do that, but I wanted the point about having it in the notes that although I don't spell out in detail what I'm doing here, it's a reminder for me, but also a reminder of to the person who gets the file back of what I have done. There's a bunch of other items here which I will cover probably in another blog post, but for now I just want to talk about those two. The next important thing to me was where did I get the data from? And I'm not talking about a citation. Where did I get the information from, and or did I add that person to the database? Remember, I got a file from someone and I plan on returning it, and I'm going to put a paper trail of or breadcrumbs of where the fact that I added the name versus got it from a record. And rather than me talk about it, let me show you. So I'm going to change the filter. I'm going to get rid of the file notes. I have a category called database. I called it profiles or database, something that says this is what came with the file. And I'm going to click OK. This top part of the list, it's all sorted by this task description, a to-do item that says it was from a file that I got. So if I merge 2 files, or I have, in this case, these are the database, these are the names of the people who came in the file that I am working on. Now I'm going to reverse the order so that the records that I added are now at the top. It's sorted by task description in this case. I manually added this one record because I have a profile called File Notes, which I won't talk about here, but I manually added. So it's a note that profile, I've manually added it to the database. These other records here, other entries, came from records. In other words, I had a record where I added this name from. So all of these people that you see scrolling by, I have added, and there's the break line between the database that I received and the records that I added. I want to be able to, for myself, know the records that I added as opposed to what came in the file that I had. Now let me just give you an example, show you example. You see my 5 underscores over here on the right? Well, that tells me that I don't know that person's given name, and I don't know this person's given name nor surname. So but I do know that I added it from a record. For grins and giggles, I'm going to open and go to that profile, and it's a husband and wife, and I don't know much about either of them. I happen to know I've color-coded these two that I know that they are a direct line ancestor. But let me go to the person view for the gentleman in question. My task list says I added it from the record. That's what I showed you in the plan workspace. So I got it from a record. Now, another thing that I do is I use the research log all of the time, and this is in the file notes. So on the 31st of January, I added this person from the 1880 federal census for, in this case, the son. Now I do this for a couple reasons. I don't know the person's name. I am assuming that the son has the same surname as his father. So I make that assumption, and it's cited, and it says I got it from the 1880 census. The reason why I capture that data, I'm not so concerned about the name here, except the census record that says, where was your father born? In this case, it's Ireland. That may not make sense at the moment, but down the road, I'm going to find a record that this information will help me know that I'm talking about the same person. So the name doesn't really count. I don't know the given name. I'm assuming that is the son's father's is the surname. The son's surname is the father's surname. I can prove or disprove that as I go along. Now let me go over, because the census record says, where was your mother born? Well, there's the mother. I don't know her birth name. I don't know anything about her name. What is important is that she also was born in Ireland. There's my citation, my research log that these citations come from the 1880 census for John, and the task list shows that I added her from records. So unknown names, that's how I handle unknown names. That notation is in the file notes. And I also in the file notes make some assumption here about the surname, an unknown first name, given name. I don't know it, it's 5 underscores. And the other point about 5 underscores that I didn't mention a few minutes ago is the fact that it does not impede the search results. It doesn't confuse the search results, and it does not hinder the search results or hints. So the use of 5 underscores get people to help fill in the blanks, or it does not mess up the search results. And let me just show you another reason why I like to use the 5 underscores. Let me go to the people workspace and a tree view, and I'm going to scroll down here because I'm going to see a bunch of names that say Living Kennedy, okay? The living doesn't help me at all. It will not help search results. Having the name Living, I don't know where this record came from. I know that it came with the database. I know that this is probably a record that came from an ancestry member tree. That's an assumption. I don't know. I will change that Living to 5 underscores. But you see, this is not helpful to me because when I first got this file, I didn't pay attention to Living. It was just a name, just like all the other names that are in this list. And I will have a number of names that are the same name repeated, but the fact that the word is living is not visually helping me. I know where it came from, and but I will change that over time to 5 underscores to meet my criteria. So when the person gets this file back, they'll know that I changed living to 5 underscores. So the point here, well, let me make one more point. I track the people that came in with the database and the new ads that I created from a record. I don't make them up, except that one which I made a note of. There's 304 people in this index. If I go back to the plan workspace, I have 304 people in the file according to the left panel of the plan workspace. And you can tell that I have in fact added from this category called database, I have 304 entries. So every name that is in this database, I know where it came from. So I thought I would share this. If you get a database that will be returned, think about how you're going to communicate what you did and maybe why. And that's why I use the file notes category. It's high priority. Let me just show you the screen that I'm looking at. I should have talked about. You see, these are items that I've completed, but they were in the medium priority, but I have completed the work, so they're down at the bottom. They're all low priority, but they were activity for a person. So hopefully that will help. I don't know if any of you worked on somebody else's file that you plan on getting back, or you picked up some research from somebody else and you're going to go forward with it. Where did I get that record from, or that person or profile from? This is a way I have found to do it, and if I were to merge files, I would certainly do this on all the records that were in the file that was brought into my database. So hopefully that helps you. If you have any questions or comments, leave it on the blog post or in the Cousin Russ genealogy community, and I will get back to you. Thank you, and have a great day.